Oh, hello. Welcome to the Biotopes. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm so glad you're here today because I've got a great update here on the Costa Rican Biotope. And I've got a little work to do in the fish room, just some maintenance stuff. So thanks so much for coming by, and let's get started. All right, so this is the Costa Rican Biotope. This is specifically on the Atlantic slope. And I've got a new inhabitant. Most of you have seen the new piece of wood here in the scape. I think it really does some really nice things here to this tank. But if we come in here a little closer, we can see here we've added a Dragon Goby. I'll put the scientific name up here on the screen because it's a little bit difficult to say, but this is a Dragon Goby. It is probably about 6 inches long. The Dragon Goby is really cool fish. It's an oddball fish for sure. It's got those really big teeth here. You can kind of see. But it is not a mean fish. First off, it is endemic to the coast of Costa Rica, often found kind of in estuary areas, really close to sea level, as are the rainbow cichlids. These guys here, Herotilapia multispinosa. The Nicaraguan cichlid, this is always also in this tank, usually hiding back in here. You can see her right there. She's found a little bit further upstream, but not too much further. So really nice biotope here. The Dragon Goby does like a little bit of salinity. It doesn't have to be pure salt water. You know, some literature says brackish. I add a little bit of salt anyway to my systems just to help with some kind of prophylactic kind of health issues, help the fish, you know, starve off any parasites and just tend to get a little bit healthier fish. But I'll continue that and see how we do. I've had this Goby here now 7 days. I just got it out of quarantine, medicated it, and it's doing really well. It is a scavenger, so it will sift through sand. Omnivore, so we'll have some food wherever it can find, very much like these other cichlids in this tank. They sift the sand all the time. So this will be much the same as those, and I think it'll be really cool to see how this does. They can get about 15 inches in the home aquarium, up to 2 feet in the wild, but this is 75 gallons, so it should have plenty of room to grow. So really excited about this new addition. I'm going to give this some time and see how this one does. If it does well, then I think what I'm going to do is probably add another Nicaraguan to this tank. And I think we will be complete. So I'll give it some time and see how it does. Make sure it's eating, make sure it's getting along with everybody. So far, it's done well. So just been in there about an hour or so. So that's a cool thing. So we'll make sure we keep you guys updated on how that goes. I also added some pothos to this tank. I've got kind of a stem down there, so you can kind of see it up here. I'd like to see how that grows. I've also added it to my other biotopes here. And yeah, really been trying to get the plants to kind of grow like this in these tanks. Haven't had a lot of luck yet, so we'll see how it does in this one. So all right, so that's it for the Costa Rican for now. Let's get into our fish room maintenance. So today we're going to do some maintenance on tanks 1 and 2. Just as a review, tank 1's got my pair of angels. It does look like these guys are going to spawn soon. The black female, you can see, is picking at that slate. Her ovipositor is out. So I would expect here with a little bit of water change tonight, they may lay eggs tonight, and we should have some eggs on that slate tomorrow. So what we'll do is we're gonna take a look at these tanks. I'm going to test the tanks, get a temperature, maybe get a pH, some other things, and kind of show you guys how I do that. Take on 2 just had that Dragon Goby, so there's nothing there now, so we'll give it a good water change and should be good to go. I think I will probably scrape the algae off this tank. There's some algae up here just under that light, so I'll probably just scrape that and should be good to go. So we'll get started. I've got my logbook here. Some of you might keep a logbook for your tanks, but you can see this is tank 1, and that's tank 2. So, but just have a date, pH, nitrates if I test that, just some other notes, temperature, how much water I add, ferts, salts, any other kind of data that I might have. So today's the 29th, and I think what I'll first start to do is if I test the pH in this tank. Last time I got a 7.6, which is the high range of the kind of low pH test in the API freshwater test kit. So I'll try the higher range pH, see if I get anything in that area, and do a little water change, add some ferts and some salt, and should be good to go. So let's get started. All right, so you can, hopefully you can see that. It's not focusing, there we go. So it's got the low range of this high range pH. You can see it's kind of that 7.4. So last time I was at 7.6, I was in the upper range of that lower. So we're right in that 7.4, 7.6 area. That's for tank 1. Temperature was 75.7. If you guys caught that or not, but so just a tad bit warmer today than, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. I think all I'm going to do, that's all I'm going to do for that testing. I'm going to scrape that glass, and then actually before I do that, I'm going to test tank 2, see where that's at, make sure that's good. 3 weeks ago, we're at 6.6. So that's pretty low. I'll do one more test just to see how that guy's at. You can see there's a lot of organics in there, pretty deep substrate. So yeah, we'll check that out and see how that is going. That's been pretty accurate as of lately, so we'll check that out. Okay, so get that into focus here in a second. So that one looks awful lot like 7.6. So I think what I did last time is I probably just didn't write it down right. Instead of 7.6, I wrote 6.6. So we're going to check that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take another test and use the high range and see where it gets out on that, just to make sure that's correct. All right, so using the high range pH, it is, yeah, pretty close at 7.4. So again, I guess it's between that 7.4 and 7.6 range. So looking good. So we'll note that down. I'm gonna get a temperature on this guy, and we'll start our water change. I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, that tank was also 75.7. So a little bit warmer than 3 weeks ago. These 2 tanks do not have heaters in them. I've got heaters in these 2. Those are the only heaters I've got in the entire fish room. And here's, it's, you guys can see that. It's 75 degrees, 57% humidity. So at 75 degrees, these top tanks, which are, you know, just over 6 feet tall here, run right at just over 75. So pretty efficient. So let's get that algae scraped and start the water change. So what I do is I measured out a while back that at 6 minutes of flow, that is 10% of the 20-gallon tank. Now, it's not 100%, but I did make sure that I have our outflows in the opposite corners of the overflows. So like in this tank here, you can see the water comes up through here, irrigation tubing, in this corner here, and the overflows in the back corner on that side. So the water's coming in furthest away possible from the overflow. Same thing on this tank. Here is the output here, this corner, and that far corner there, you can see that is where the overflow is. So it's not 100%, but it's pretty good. So at 10 minutes, or 6 minutes, it's just about 10% water change. And I do that just about every 3 weeks, sometimes even more, but at least that much. So all I've got to do is turn this valve here and water starts flowing. So we'll turn that. There you go. You can see the water starts flowing in. Okay, and we'll let that go for 6 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna scrape the algae off the sides of these tanks. Both of those need it because I've got that light pretty close to the lids. I think someday I'd like to get that mounted up a little bit higher, just make it easier, but for now that's where we've got it. So we're gonna get those things scraped, and I'm gonna use my, this is one of the Seachem scrapers. Works pretty well, so we'll get a ladder, we'll get up there and get that going. All right, another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this hang in the back uptake tube. It's got a bunch of detritus and stuff in there, so I just popped it off of that guy there. So I'm gonna go get that rinsed out. You can see it's pretty nasty with snail shells and plant material and so forth. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up, and then we'll place that. And by that time, we should have enough water in the system. You can see it's going now. I've already scraped the algae off of these guys. So you can see that one's a lot better too already. And I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. You can kind of see through it there. So that is all clean. I'm gonna end our water change. Just turn that off. That turns the water off. You can see it's kind of hitting that lid there. And glass is all cleaned off there. Scrape that. That Seachem scraper works pretty well. Had that for a couple years. Same thing here. So I just got to replace that into that HOB filter. And yeah, check back in after that. All right, one more thing on this. So I wanted to put a sponge on this uptake tube. And this is a Aquarium Co-op, I think it's the small. It is stretched out a little bit, so it didn't quite hang or fit on this, so I just took a rubber band and yeah, tighten that up, make sure it's all the way on, and now I'll put that back. So I just want to show you if you ever have a sponge that's a little bit too big, this is one way. You know, this is not a display tank, it's just breeding, quarantine, and I'll make sure if I get fry in there, I don't want anything getting through there. Plus it'll be a little bit easier to clean just taking this sponge off and rinsing it out. So I'm gonna get that replaced and we'll be right back. Okay, last thing we're gonna do with these tanks before we're done is we're gonna add some salt and some fertilizer. We won't add salt to this side because there's nothing in there, but we will add salt to number one. And then what I do is I take, this is my bucket of tricks. You guys have might have seen this before in my videos. It's just a small little net. I'm going to hang that up on the tank. So I'm just going to put it here kind of in the wash of this little internal filter. So just hanging on that that rim right there. And I'm starting a new experiment. So I've always used kind of your run-of-the-mill aquarium salt. But what I'm going to try now is, this is Instant Ocean for marine tanks. And the research Corey and Aquarium Co-op's talked about this, is 1 teaspoon for 20 gallons. So these are 20-gallon tanks. This is a ½ teaspoon measure. I'm going to do 2 scoops of this. That's 1 teaspoon. And really the big difference is it's got magnesium, calcium, and some alkalinity in it, which I think will help with the plants a little bit and help with the fish too. So doing some experimenting with it, and excited to see kind of how it goes. So we're going to do 2 scoops of that, put it in the into the net. So let's do that. Yeah, there's 1. And see, I just right there. It's pretty fine, a lot more fine than aquarium salt. This level scoop. And this way it dissolves really nicely through that net pretty quickly. Bring that off there. You can see it just kind of dissolves through the net. And then we'll put our top back on. And like I think I said, this is the Instant Ocean, not reef salt, but marine salt. That's it. And then this is the fert I'm using. This is the Thrive All-in-One. It's very similar. I looked at compared to the Easy Green. So it's got a pump on it. It's 1 pump per 10 gallons. So it makes it real simple, real easy. So let's put a couple of those in. Dunzo. Okay, we'll get our net out. Make sure all the salt's out of there. Okay. Top back on. Good to go. All right, let's head over next door here. I don't need to get all the way up there. I'm just going to take the top off. These polycarbonate sheets are great little lids. A couple squirts. Good to go. Back in the bucket of tricks. Lights are starting to dim here and go down. So I'm getting this just in the nick of time. Oh, it's not fitting on, so I do have to get up on the ladder. Oh, it's because I'm on top of my light. There you go. And we'll just do a quick wipe down here. Got a little bit on the light. One back there. Oops. Okie doke. We're just about spread this down. And we'll see if we get spawn out of these guys here after that water change, salt, and ferts. I think they're getting ready to go as soon as these lights goes off, really. All right, everybody, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming back in the biotopes. Did some maintenance on these tanks here. Showed you guys a little bit kind of my technique for those. Got the new update on the Costa Rican tank. So lots of fun stuff here. Trying to upload more. I'm pushing 400 subs, so please guys, I really appreciate it. Hit a subscription, hit that notification bell, share this out. Really would help the channel. I'm only really doing this just to kind of share with everybody out there. I figure if this is kind of cool to me and I enjoy it, maybe a few other people do too. So if you got any questions about setting up biotopes or any of the maintenance type stuff that I do here, please don't hesitate to reach out. And excited to see you next time here in the biotopes. Oh, hello. Welcome to the biotopes. Thanks for coming back in. So glad. Oh, fuck. Oh, hello. Welcome to the biotopes. Thanks so much for stopping back in here in the biotope gallery. I've got a great update here on the Costa Rican tank I want to show you guys. And I just got a little other kind of maintenance things we're going to do around the fish room. So you're welcome to tag along. Come on by.